Hello, it's just me, Rachel, and I am at the moment sitting outside the Kingdom Hall right at the driveway entrance, and people are leaving, and it was a bit of a rush job this morning. I had to hurry up and jump out of the shower quickly construct a sign. It's just a paper sign, so I'm glad it's not raining. Yes, so I'm parked right within full view of them leaving the car park, and yeah, I can see people looking towards me as they leave. They probably think I'm recording them, but quite a few people I don't recognise leaving. Yeah, a few different people since I left in 2013. Yes, interesting. The sign that I have on today it's more of a scriptural one, and it says, "There is no fear in love." 1 John 4:18. Why are you afraid? Because our life, or my life as a witness, there was a great deal of fear involved in being a witness. You know, fear of not doing the right thing, not be found suitable by Jehovah, that not being good enough. There was always a lot of emphasis on doing more, and are you being whole-souled, and most of us would probably say, well, I could do more. So that always left you feeling guilty and afraid that because you weren't doing more that you wouldn't survive Armageddon. Yeah, so always a fear of Armageddon looming, and the suffering and the way that you might die would often make people fearful. And at the moment, with everything happening around the globe, North Korea and President Trump, and these lunatics that seem to be in charge, the threat of possible nuclear weapons being used, all the climate changes, the hurricanes, earthquakes, all these things, of course, have the witnesses quite excited that the Great Tribulation might be upon them. And I just saw someone I know go past. She's looking a lot older. Anyway, yes, they're really expecting the Great Tribulation to be upon them at any moment, even though things aren't panning out the way the organisation has stated, and I can't see how that will be, with the United Nations turning on all religion, when in fact the United Nations is an organisation that protects freedom of religious belief, yeah, so it's a protector, and the organisation has turned to different arms of the United Nations to give them the right to preach. So I can't see how that's going to happen. A lot of things have got to happen before the Great Tribulation can start, but it seems that witnesses are being primed for an imminent start of the Great Tribulation, so they are fearful. But then, the scriptures say that, if you understand the love of God, if you know His love, then there is no reason to be fearful. Yet witnesses live in fear all the time. So I hope some of them think about the words on the car if they bother to read it. I've had some sort of smirks or half smiles as people have driven past, and there were some locals here in the neighbourhood, some young blokes in hoodies that thought it was funny. So I should have had my balloons on top. That would be funnier, Anyway, I'll just sit here for a while longer. This morning I watched a video on JW Broadcasting, and it was our little tubby GB member, Mark Sanderson, his little tubby round face. Well, not that I can talk, but showing what efforts were being made to provide relief and report on what had happened in Mexico following the earthquakes and hurricanes, and in, you know, Texas, so Houston, Florida, Puerto Rico, and these other, you know, Caribbean islands, you know, how he wanted to show how the brothers were faring. And what struck me was that the organisation itself hasn't really, at this stage, hasn't really provided any relief. It's really been all the local brothers and sisters. I was quite impressed with what was happening in Mexico, where just the local brothers and sisters rallied without direction from on high. They rallied and donated goods and, you know, water and food and stuff, and set up distribution centres and got to distributing stuff, which was very proactive of them. And that's exactly what, you know, if Christians, that's what you'd expect them to be doing, not waiting for instructions from above. So that was quite good that they did that. In some case, in one area, I can't remember which country it was, but the brothers and sisters themselves actually donated generators for those that, you know, needed power. And what was it? I think when the USA branch put together a committee, this is what the organisation did. It put together committees. You know, it's committees upon committees. And the committees went out to these devastated areas to make reports. That's what they did. That was their contribution. To gather information to report back to the branches or to headquarters in New York. And oftentimes, when the brothers assigned on these committees visited the areas, they found that the local brothers and sisters were doing what they could to help each other, doing what little they could, donating food, water, and whatever else people needed. It was quite interesting how Brother Sanderson referred to some of the experiences that these visiting brothers that were making reports, he referred to their experiences as heartwarming. You know, one example that I find quite I don't know what the word is to say, but anyway, a brother who was assigned to make a report went to one of the devastated areas, and he went to the Kingdom Hall. I think it was an island, and there was one Kingdom Hall on the island that served 4 congregations. I think I'm getting this right. Anyway, it was just devastated. It was of no use at all. But every day, brothers and sisters would come and sit in the car park, and they'd sit there all day, day after day. And when the brother from the branch came, he asked them why they were just sitting there in the car park all day. And they said, well, it's because we trust that Jehovah's going to look after us, and that this will be where the help will come, to the Kingdom Hall. And then the visiting brother then realised that they needed to do something. Really? They had to wait till then to realise that they needed to do something? So they call this a heartwarming experience, but I would say it was more of showing how the organisation had thus far failed to provide what the brothers and sisters were expecting that Jehovah would provide for them. It was more of a case of expectation postponed makes the heart sick. You know, how many of them would feel quite despondent if after day they still weren't requiring the basic necessities like food and water, shelter. So overall, my impression from the video, and it was, I think, about half an hour long, it showed that the organisation thus far hadn't really done anything in a physical way to help the brothers and sisters with their needs. You know, not their spiritual needs, their physical, their immediate needs to stay alive and to stay healthy. They hadn't really done anything except send out these committees to gather information. But right at the very end, Brother Sanderson did say that the organisation had either spent or put aside $3 million to help the brothers and sisters in these ravaged areas. And I think, oh, well, that's not really very much money, is it? Especially when the organisation has possibly billions of dollars. You think after the sale of their Brooklyn properties, the ones that have been sold so far, it's been over $1 billion that they've made. And their new branch facilities only cost a tiny, tiny fraction of that. So there's a lot of money in the organisation that brothers and sisters have donated with the belief that their donations will cover these kinds of events. Yet the organisation, or Mark Sanderson was saying that they'd spent or given or reserved $3 million, and it may go up to like over $20 million that they needed. So therefore they were really asking all the brothers and sisters to continue to donate money for the relief efforts, even though many of these brothers and sisters have already donated money believing that it would go to relief efforts, and had already possibly donated food, water and whatever else they could. They've been asked for more. So it makes you wonder why, if this is Jehovah's organisation that's identified by love amongst themselves, why is the governing body not distributing the funds that they have to support their brothers and sisters, to help keep them alive? So it's really, I find it quite concerning, really. But on the other hand, it was nice to see that brothers and sisters in many places really doing what they could to help each other. I mean, it's just awful what's going on in those places. Just like Puerto Rico, it's just, unbelievable. It's going to take a long, long time for these areas to recover to any degree. So anyway, there's a bit of movement around the Kingdom Hall. A few young sisters in their great huge high heels walking around, and yeah. So I'll just sit here a bit longer. Well, I won't bore you anymore, and if you've got any comments about this video on JW Broadcasting, or if I've got some of my details wrong, I might have. My brain's a bit tired these days, but yeah, let me know in the comments. I'll see you later. Bye.